the more we understand, the better chess we play and the less mistakes we do. We're going to be focusing on the Halloween Gambit today and a refutation of the said Gambit. Some kid at my chess club on Saturday, they had this, and it was a surprise and a shock for them that despite the fact they've won a piece in the opening, they weren't able to uphold the onslaught of the white pawn's presence in the center. So we're going to try to make it as clear as we can in a short span video. I guess you don't want to stay half an hour, right? You got other things to do. So let's just go with the e4 now. It starts at the 4 knights game. So everyone knows e4, e5, knight f3, attacking the e5, knight c6. Of course, you could go many ways here, but now we want to do with the Halloween Gambit. So we're starting with the 4 knights game. We know of it. Okay, so white now, in order to play the Halloween Gambit, they will need to sack an exchange. They will need to sack a piece to sacrifice a full knight. And it looks like completely crazy. Now, it is unsound. It is unsound. You're not gonna see Maxim Vachier-Lagrave playing this against Hikaru Nakamura or Magnus Carlsen, though. But he did play it, and he did win against the lower-rated player. So, what's the idea? After knight takes and black takes back, what we're going to see now is a sequence of moves in which the white pawns claim the center, starting with the d4. So now we're getting into business. Knight had been lost, but white hits the black knight now with the d4. Now, two main stuff we got to keep in mind here. One move is not so good. The other one is perfectly fine. You're going to hold on to the advantage, and you're going to be winning eventually. The stuff you don't want to play, the stuff black mustn't do here, is knight c6, which the kid I was talking about, that's Sherry, this video is for you in principle, and for the rest of the guys at our chess club. So what we don't want to do is knight c6 here. Knight c6 because it's exactly what they want you to play, following with the d4. Where are you going to go with that guy? If you played e5, then we're going to see f4. You move in again. How many tempi? The third one. And now, again, more hitting on the knight on f6. So look at this pawn structure in the middle of the board, controlling everything. Your knights are being constantly harassed. You lacking space. Yes, you're dropping knight to g8 eventually. And yes, the engine would tell you that's perfectly fine. I'm going to win, right? But you're not an engine. I'm not sure you're going to play 30, 40 moves here perfectly accurate so that you emerge victorious. So we don't want to play this. So let me just roll back a bit. So after d4 attacking the knight on e5, my dear friends, the move we want to focus on, and the correct one, the best one for black, is knight to g6. This is the first thing we have to understand. I think it's move number 5, right? Yeah, move number 5 for black. Knight g6, don't do knight c6. So knight g6, right? And of course, if white stays in the same spirit, e5 is going to happen. Now, you can't go d5, obviously, but you're going to drop g5. You have to do it, g8. Knight f6 to g8. You must play this. You're doing very well. You've got one piece advantage here. Yes, white has the center. Yes, they're going to be taking advantage of this one, but you can withhold it. You can oppose it successfully. Okay, so we're going to look at the most dangerous ideas that white can play, and there are two. So I'm going to say it now. Two main ideas you got to pay attention when you're reaching this very position. One is the bishop c4, which is absolutely glorious because it's attacked the perennially weak f7. Later on combined with the queen, so you got to be super careful about that one. And another very corrosive idea is the h4 that would like to further harass your black knight and sending you in disarray and creating havoc and stuff. Now, I'm going to referencing the game that MVL won against another player. So he went with h4 and the other player responded h5, which is not the best stuff. If you ever play Maxim Vachier-Lagrave again, try to respond d5, which is very important because it stops the bishop d5. Very important. So d5. Yeah, h5 is playable, but d5 is the best. So h5 being played, and MVL now continued with bishop c4. Notice the mounting power on the f7 weak square here. And bishop b4 being played by the other person. Bishop g5 hitting the queen. If you do f6 is a disaster, you're actually weakening all the light squares surrounding the black king. And now the other person, rather than taking on c3, they drop the bishop to e7, you know, panicking upon what to play, and MVL now went with queen to f3. Now, black had lost all the advantage. It is equal in the eyes of the almighty stockfish, but we're not talking about machines. We're talking about humans playing against other humans. And now the only last shot available to saving black would be again d5. So you guys gotta keep this in mind and understand that how important d5 is to be played, which the person didn't play, but instead they went with the catastrophical f6, trying to block the queen from reaching f7. But if the queen can't go this way, eventually they'll be going to d5, having this thinking now. And really, this is losing for black at this stage. That was it. Sorry, there's no good moves. There is no good moves. Now you could just very well shake hands, and it's not gonna work. But for the sake of finishing up the referencing, okay, king to c6 check. There's no good. Okay, I can't do this. It's painful. All right, it's just painful. Too painful. Let's go back. So game over after knight f3 and f6. That's it. So let's go back a little bit. And if you allow me, after a move like h4, if you allow me to reminding you guys about the d5, which is very important to be played right now. Yes, if they keep attacking you with h4 to h5, yeah, you're going to be playing this guy here. You just move natural stuff. Yeah, they might be further harassing you with h6. They might, but you're going to take back with a knight eventually. So the game just simply continues. You got a bishop ready to play, or e6 if you're given a chance. Depends what happens. So here you're having one extra minor piece, and you've got no problem. There is no bishop c4 coming. Okay, so you can play it in this fashion. If white goes with bishop c4, again, d5 is important to be played straight away. In my understanding, you have to do d5. You must play d5 here. And if they take en passant, well, you take bishop d6 and you tell me what's wrong. What's wrong here for black? I think that's it. The attack had fizzled out. They watered down. They lost all the big advantage here. There's nothing really for them to play. A queen f3 now could be just very well stopped with knight f6 and stuff. You got no issue whatsoever. There's nothing. So white had just lost at this stage. You got no issue whatsoever. So that's what I think it's the main idea and refutation of this Halloween Gambit stuff, which is very good than Blitz and Bullet. Don't get me wrong. I think if black didn't do the homework, they're gonna land themselves in issues and problems. You must remember the move number 5. After you've taken the white knight on e5, following d4, you don't go knight c6, you go knight g6. So that's one thing to remember for the future. And secondly, of course, you have to play knight g8 after e4 to e5 advances. After this, go d5. After h4, you go d5. After bishop c4, you go d5. Again, what move number is that? Move number 7 for black. So remember, d5 is to be employed whether h4, whether c4, black must respond with d5. Critical moment and move. Now, if they take with the knight, you're going to play bishop e6. Things are going to get traded. And remember, the more material you have, trading of pieces works in your favor because you are having more material. Okay? So there is no problem at this stage after d5 had been played. They might play with this one here. I guess you could just simply develop, maybe getting your guys off the back rank, hitting the bishop. You got this this guy that can be played as well. c6 maybe to stopping any d5 coming down the board. You're playing this guy. The game continues. I think you're doing absolutely fine. Big advantage here for black. Almost -2. Check it with your own analysis engines. And that's it. That's about the Halloween. No problem. You take the knight, d4, knight g6. They play h4, bishop c4. Well, they push, of course, knight g8, h4, not h5, although you're not losing with this one, but it allows bishop g5 later on if you're pushing this. So you gotta maybe focus on d5 rather than h5. So, okay, guys, so that was a very short one. Just keep in mind to pinpoint two main ideas. And hopefully I'm going to see you on the next live stream or on the next video. Thank you, guys. See you soon.